It starts quietly. Too quietly. The sea looks calm, almost innocent, stretching endlessly under a pale sky. A U.S. Navy destroyer slices through the water with mechanical precision, its radar spinning, its sensors watching everything and missing nothing. On board, the crew is alert but calm. They've been here before. International waters. Routine patrol. Nothing unusual. And then, a dot appears on the radar. Small. Fast. Low altitude. At first, it looks harmless. But in this part of the world, nothing ever truly is. Within seconds, that dot turns into a shape. A helicopter. Iranian. And it is coming in fast. Too fast. Too close. This is the moment where routine ends and history begins to lean forward. Because when an Iranian military helicopter flies dangerously close to a U.S. Navy destroyer, every second matters, every move is watched, and one mistake can ignite a fire no one can control. The helicopter approaches from the horizon, rotors slicing through the air, growing louder with every second. On the deck of the destroyer, crew members look up. Combat systems track the aircraft instantly. This is not panic. This is training. The ship's radar locks on, electronic systems identify the helicopter, classify it, analyze its speed, angle, intent. The bridge goes silent. This is the kind of silence that comes right before something happens. The Iranian helicopter does not slow down. It does not divert. It keeps coming. Close enough now that markings are visible. Close enough that cameras capture every detail. Close enough to cross an invisible line that navies around the world understand without ever needing to say it out loud. In military terms, this is called a provocation. In real life, it feels like a challenge. The U.S. Navy destroyer does not change course. It does not back down. Its presence here is legal, deliberate, and calculated. International waters mean freedom of navigation, a principle the U.S. Navy enforces across the globe. But Iran sees things differently. To Tehran, these waters are a buffer, a zone of influence, a space where American warships are tolerated, but never welcomed. The helicopter circles closer now, dropping altitude, passing near the ship's superstructure. This is no accident. This is a message. For the sailors on deck, time stretches. They've trained for missile attacks, drone swarms, fast attack boats. But a helicopter this close is a different kind of danger. One wrong move, one misread signal, one nervous finger, and suddenly, the unthinkable becomes real. The ship's weapons remain silent, but they are ready. Phalanx systems track. Surface-to-air missiles stand by. The rules of engagement are clear, but the margin for error is razor-thin. The Iranian helicopter flies close enough to be seen clearly through binoculars. Close enough that the noise of the rotors is unmistakable. Close enough to say, without words, we see you. And we are not impressed. This kind of encounter doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of years, decades, of tension building in one of the most strategically critical regions on Earth. The Persian Gulf and the surrounding waters are not just lines on a map. They are arteries of global trade. A significant portion of the world's oil flows through these waters. Whoever controls them holds leverage over the global economy. And both Iran and the United States understand this better than anyone. Iran's strategy has long relied on asymmetric pressure. When it can't match American power ship for ship or plane for plane, it uses proximity, psychology, and provocation. Fast boats swarm U.S. vessels. Drones buzz overhead. Helicopters fly dangerously close. Each move is designed to test limits, to probe reactions, to gather intelligence, and to send a signal, not just to Washington, but to allies and rivals watching from afar. For the United States, backing down is not an option. Any sign of hesitation can be interpreted as weakness, and weakness invites escalation. So the destroyer holds course. The crew remains disciplined. No weapons are fired. No sudden maneuvers are made. The message is equally clear: we're not going anywhere. Inside the helicopter, Iranian pilots are executing a mission that is just as calculated. They know the capabilities of the destroyer below them. They know its weapons, its sensors, its rules. Flying this close is risky, but that risk is part of the point. It shows confidence. It shows defiance. It plays well on Iranian state media, where such encounters are often portrayed as victories against American intimidation. But here's the part that rarely makes the headlines: how close is too close? In naval aviation terms, distance is everything. A helicopter flying too low or too near can be interpreted as a hostile act, especially if it approaches weapons arcs or sensitive areas of a ship. One sudden turn, one equipment malfunction, one misunderstood maneuver, and suddenly, a defensive response becomes justified. And once the first shot is fired, there is no pause button. This is why moments like these are among the most dangerous in modern geopolitics. Not because anyone wants a war, but because no one wants to look weak. The helicopter makes another pass. This time even closer. The ship's crew tightens. Cameras record. Radar tracks. Commands are issued calmly, precisely. The captain knows that history is watching, even if the world doesn't realize it yet. The destroyer's presence here is part of a larger mission, maintaining stability, protecting shipping lanes, and signaling commitment to allies. But stability in this region has always been fragile. Iranian media will later describe the incident very differently. They will say the helicopter warned the US ship away, that the American destroyer changed course, that Iran defended its waters. US officials, on the other hand, will downplay the encounter, calling it unsafe, unprofessional, but ultimately controlled. Two narratives, one reality, and the truth lives somewhere in the tension between them. Eventually, the helicopter pulls away. It climbs, turns, and disappears back toward the Iranian coastline. The immediate danger passes. No shots fired, no collision, no casualties. Just another encounter added to a long list of near misses that define US-Iran relations at sea. But the story doesn't end there. Because every such incident adds pressure. Each close call increases the risk of miscalculation next time. And there will be a next time. The strategic chess game in these waters never stops. Iran continues to push boundaries. The US continues to patrol. Allies watch closely. Rivals take notes. What makes this encounter particularly significant is timing. Regional tensions are already high. Conflicts elsewhere are stretching global military resources. Any spark in the Persian Gulf has the potential to ripple outward, affecting oil prices, shipping insurance, diplomatic relations, and military deployments worldwide. For the sailors on that destroyer, this wasn't about politics. It was about professionalism under pressure. About trust in training. About staying calm when a hostile aircraft comes closer than it ever should. For the Iranian pilots, it was about asserting presence, demonstrating resolve, and reminding the world that Iran is not intimidated by American firepower. From the outside, it might look like just another military video clip. A helicopter, a ship, some dramatic music, a bold title. But beneath that surface lies something far more serious. These encounters are rehearsals for disaster, or for restraint. They test systems, people, and policies under real-world stress. History is full of wars that started not with grand declarations, but with small incidents. A patrol gone wrong, a shot fired in confusion, a misinterpreted maneuver. That's why every close encounter matters. That's why this helicopter flying too close was not just a stunt. It was a calculated risk taken in one of the most volatile regions on the planet. As the destroyer continues its patrol, the sea returns to its quiet state. The crew resumes routine duties. Reports are filed, videos are reviewed, statements are prepared. Somewhere else, analysts dissect footage frame by frame. Governments exchange messages behind closed doors. And the world moves on, mostly unaware of how close things came to going very wrong. But make no mistake, this was not an accident. It was a message, a test, and a reminder that in international waters where power, pride, and politics collide, even a single helicopter can bring two nations to the edge. And next time, the margin for error may be even smaller.